From Central High School in Woodstock, this is the 4th edition of CHSPN, the Central High Sports Programming Network. My name is Kyle Gutschall, as I'm joined today by Logan Yo. Thanks for tuning in to this week's special edition of CHSPN as we celebrate homecoming here in Falcon territory. As we start with volleyball from last Thursday night, as the Falcons volleyball team hosted William Monroe and defeated the Dragons in a very close match, 3-2. That win was the third in a row for the Falcons, but then Tuesday night they fell in a hard-fought battle to George Mason, 3-0 in a challenging district matchup. The boys are back in town tonight with a big homecoming game on the line as the 3-2 Falcons host the 2-3 Skyline Hawks. Now on to this week's preview of Falcon football. Here's Logan with this week's analysis. Logan, what do we need to know about this week's homecoming football game?
Well, the football team looks to improve their record to 4-2 this week as they take on Skyline for homecoming. Some of the key players to look for are wide receiver number 5, Marion Haley, quarterback number 2, Blake Appleton, and number 74, the defensive end on the defensive side of the ball, obviously. And Haley and Appleton have both been key parts of the offense as their offense leads the area with 364 yards per game and averaging 31 points per game. Quarterback Appleton has 826 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions as we've just passed the halfway point of the season. Look for the Falcons to capitalize on his recent struggles last week against Riverheads.
Yeah, we'll see, Logan, if the Falcons can keep the momentum going, playing pretty good football as of late. Big homecoming game here tonight with Skyline.
For sure.
It's now that time of the week as we'll kick it over to Maria Marston as she sat with Mr. Burkhart to conduct this week's edition of the CHSPN Game Picks of the Week.
Thanks, Kyle. Now we're here with our guest picker, Mr. Burkhart. And he's going to be making the game day picks this week. We're going to start with this week's premier, Penn State at number 17, Iowa. Who are you picking?
I've got number 17, Iowa. It's a tough place to play, and Iowa does really good at home, especially in the later games, so Iowa.
South Carolina at number 3, Georgia.
I've got Georgia in this one. I think they're just too good of a team, really trying to stay in the playoff hunt for that, so I'm going to go with Georgia.
And then we have the Red River Showdown between number 6, Oklahoma versus number 11, Texas, being played at the AT&T Stadium.
Well, I really don't like either team since they're in the Big 12, and I'm a West Virginia fan. So, but I think Oklahoma's going to pull it out and take the victory.
Moving on to high school football, we have John Hanley versus Millbrook.
I'm going to go with Millbrook in this one. I know they've got a big win against their rival Sharando, so I think they're going to ride that all the way through and take out the judges.
And now we have the Central versus Skyline game, which is a big game for Central. It's the homecoming game. Who do you got?
Well, I think Skyline's improved this year. I know they're coming off some tough losses, but it is homecoming, and so let's go Falcons! Woo!
And a big thanks to Mr. Burkhart for joining us here on this week's edition as he made his picks. And you can tell, Logan, he felt very strongly about that Central over Skyline game.
Yeah, he's definitely excited for homecoming week, and it was a rough one last week for him in West Virginia as they didn't do so hot against Texas.
Yeah, the Mountaineers have had an up and down year, beat JMU in the first week of the season, but we'll have to see how they do the rest of the year. We want to thank everyone for joining us here on the 4th edition of CHSPN. As we wind things down here this week, we'll leave you with a look at some of the events that have been taking place this week here at Central.
Haven't changed, had much to say, but man, I still think them cats are crazy. They were asking if you were around, how you was, where you could be found. I told them you were living downtown, driving all the old men crazy. The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. The boys are back in town, the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town, the boys are back in town. chick that used to dance a lot. Every night she'd be on the floor shaking what she'd got. Man, when I tell you she was cool, she was red hot. I mean, she was steaming. And that time over at Johnny's place, well, this chick got up and she slapped Johnny's face. Man, we just fell about the place. If that chick don't wanna know, forget her. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. I said, the boys are back in town. 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 Spread the word around. Yes, who's back in town? You spread the word around. Friday night they'll be dressed to kill down at Dino's Bar and Grill. The drink will flow and blood will spill. And if the boys wanna fight, you better let them. That jukebox in the corner blasting out my favorite song. The nights are getting warmer, it won't be long. Won't be long till summer comes. Now that the boys are here again.